Hello Sagittarius, how you doing? Welcome back to the Astroflower, your energy reading for the week going from the 18th through to the 24th of August. Hope you're doing well. We've got those alignments as well of planets that are coming up, which I mentioned a little bit in the messages from energy. And the messages from energy was it's quite serious this week here. And it was all about, life. This is the work of life. This is not a drill. This is living life. It was that sort of attitude, sort of kind of going, if you want it, stop messing about and let's get on and take it. And let's do it. So it's had that sort of feel to it in the message from energy. I also did another video on manifestations and how to manifest things in a very simplest of fashions. I also did another video on the tea meditation, which helps you define that consistency within your energy so you can find that consistency within the world around you. And obviously that can be quite difficult in the human world because the human world is a little bit skitsy at times. I think we all know that. So if the more that you can be consistent within your energies, the easier it is to find the consistency in the world that is around you. You'll find all of those videos on our channel. Yes, if you want a question answered through channeling, please do leave it in the comment section below and we'll be answering it in the next week's reading. In the meantime, let's just get on and seeing what's going on for the energy, the messages from energy. So I'm lucky enough to have a beautiful window here. I can see all the trees outside. It appears that last week it was like you were going off on a mission and you didn't want to wait around anymore. You didn't want to mess around doing this to and fro, to and fro, to and fro, back and forth sort of scenario. And this is because you've positioned yourself. It seems like energy here is found something that it can invest in within you. And this is like could be business, could be a relationship, could be a spiritual path, spiritual practice, whatever it is. Energy seems to be super focused on one aspect of it all, and it's really putting its force behind it. So if you feel like that there's a particular path that you should be following, once you start stepping down that path, I think you're going to find it actually quite easy to progress. You're going to find it a lot easier to get the results as well because you're focusing a lot more on what the path means to you. And following what I would call is the evident path. I think that's really important at the moment. And I mentioned that in the manifestation video as well about keeping it really simple, but combining spirit and the physical world. And the moment you start doing that, that's when you start getting the results. Let's just see if we can get a vision for that this week here for you. The general energies. I get like this, like it's a shining star, but it's like a sheriff star. It's like you have become the law that governs your consciousness, and it does feed on from last week a real sort of sensation of no, I'm the law about what goes on in my life, and there's no nonsense about it. This is how it is. It's not any other way. So I get this sort of like, be proud of those confirmations that are within you. Sing them loud and proud so everybody can see and hear. Because once you've positioned yourself like that, that means everybody else can then find their position according to you. And that's going to feed a lot more back into your life. Really nice, really inspiring energy actually about it all. But to see what's going on the financial side, passionate. Is getting a lot more sort of passion into following the pathway that you wish to follow. Um, and it's not just passionate about the business, it's passionate about the fact that you're enjoying it as well. It's something that's worthwhile that gives you a lot more benefits than just finances. Uh, it, you're proud of what you're creating. That's what it feels like here. Either you're selling things or it seems like there's either you're sending off uh, application forms for jobs and so forth, or you're buying and selling things, or you've got like it's like a book of knowledge that you have that you is giving you the insights to what you should be doing. And I think the book of knowledge is you. And it's like you're lifting from this book the essence of the understandings, which is setting you in a different field to the people that are around you. So if you're looking at really going for a job, go for it. Don't hold back. Really, really, show your side that many people do not have. And once you do, I think that's going to spark a great deal of interest in what you're doing, and it could even be a business or a project. Whatever you're doing, it's going to start sparking interest within you. And once that spark happens, that's when you're going to suddenly start kind of going, do you know what? Actually, I know how to crack this. And that's how it builds the confidence within you. Really, really beautiful. See what's going on the relationship side. I've got to be honest, this feels a little bit more sort of labor driven. That you're putting in a lot of work. And even some of you, to be honest, I think, kind of going, I think you're asking yourself, is this work worth it? That's what it seems like. And I'm not so sure it is. Um, you're willing and you've got a lot of patience when need be, but there is a limit to everything. And in the relationship side here is kind of like, I liken it to old Roman bridges. When they build a bridge, they start building on both sides that meet in the middle. And then they put the last stone in the middle and they take the scaffolding away and the stones just go and they interlock with one another. And that is what you're looking for within the relationship. But you can't build both sides. You can only do your side. And I think that's what you should concentrate on. And that's where you will meet someone or you will be with someone in the middle where, there's greater comprehension, there's a greater physical interaction, and everything sits and goes doop and fits. Okay? But otherwise, it could be a little bit difficult for you trying to do both sides at once, for you and for the other person. To see what's going on the spiritual side of things. Blinded by the light. It's like you've seen the light, and it's like there's a real dawning of your spirit of you knew how to do this anyway, of how to when to interject and when not to interject, and when to push and when not to push. But now you're getting a certain control over it, so you almost is like seeing the evidence of it within your life, it's much easier for you to apply yourself into the spiritual world and spiritual understanding simply because you're not running after things that it's like a dog track, and you go dog racing. And you have dogs that run around the track, and um, they're chasing a false rabbit, and this is where you're no longer doing that. You recognize that the rabbit is false sometimes, and you're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Excuse me a second, I forgot to actually put my microphone on. So let me just do that. So should be a little bit easier to hear. So yeah, I think within the spiritual side, it's like there's a real sort of I wouldn't say prestige, but it is a little bit like that. It's almost as if like you're it's not that you're playing by the rules, but you're respecting the steps within the spiritual world and trusting the spiritual opening that's happening within your life. And once you do sort of step into that, that's when I think you're going to get some really good results and it's going to make you feel a lot more empowered, not because of finances or anything like that, but because and you don't have to believe anymore, So when someone's speaking to you, you don't even have to get involved in the conversation because you know the result already. You know what it's like. You know the truth. And it is a bit like having an enlightenment moment within yourself this week. Let's just have a look at the chakra sequencing and seeing what's going on there. So let's connect to the energy again. Find that 0 point. There we go. Lovely, beautiful. There we go. We've got that central point there. We get the crown on the root, but like in the messages from energy, and it's like this, what it was like last week. They're background stuff. They're the backup. They're the raison d'etre in your life. The karmic path. It's the way that you should be living. You don't need to struggle about this or ask questions. You just need to live it. And it's moving straight away to your solar plexus now. And that solar plexus has got a lot of force on it, on both practical side, on physically doing things, which is really good, but also on the emotional side and the spiritual side as well. And it goes between the two. It's sort of like playing between two petals as far as I can see. So this is where the energy is going to get behind something that you're going to put your energy into. And it seems like through the solar plexus, that's where it's coming out. So there's a lot of determination, courage, and confidence in what you're doing. And, feeling that strength within your abdomen region. The solar plexus is like, if you just put your hand above your belly button, as it were, your navel, it's pretty much where it is. And you should be able to feel it on both sides. So you're getting the digestive situation with the, is it the gallbladder or the spleen? I've learned it all in French. In French, it's le rat and your liver. So you've got this sort of like filtration thing, but also you've got this fire input, and it works really well for you, this solar plexus, this determination. Where's it moving on to now? Goes to the throat. This is where as I say, within relationships and so forth, there is a certain degree of sort of, I can talk myself till I'm blue in the face. The person's not going to hear and not going to listen. So, at some point they've either got to sharpen up or, see what's on further on down the river, as it were. It's that's the communication. It's somewhat stifled because of that. because there is a certain degree of uncomfortableness with having to do all the work and stuff like that. It's like, uh, there's no synergy between it all. And I think this is where you need to be very candid or very reserved about how you put your energy into communication and so forth. Yes, listen, and yes, communicate and tell and speak, but don't necessarily do all the work, you know. Where's it moving on to now? It moves on to the sacrum, and this is that fundamental things. This is that light that is within you, where you can really, you're setting the rules here of engagement within your life. And I don't think there's no messing with you anymore, Sagittarius. And when you're in this frame of mind, this is when you become incredibly creative and productive at the same time. And I think you need to really go along with that and really push it. Where's it moving on to now? So it's moved on from the sacrum, which is all about the fundamental desires, the foundation, and so forth. And then it does go back to the crown and root. I don't think there's any messing with you this week here. I think you're looking for results, not only within the physical world, but also within the relationship side and the emotional side of life. And once you start getting those results, I think you're not going to settle for anything less, which I think is very, very wise thing to do. Okay? Let's just pull a few cards and stuff like that. If you looked at the messages from energy, it was all really about the earth and water energies going through. And that's really much in the here and now as well when we look at your Astroflower. So let's just have a look and see what's going on for you. Look at that. You get the Five of Wands. Is it conflict? No, I don't think that is at all. If you see this person here is, they're pulling themselves out of the conflictual Four of Wands that are left. And that is agreements that doesn't really work anymore, and it doesn't work for you. So you're extracting yourself from conflictual situations. Certainly I think more on your relationship and stuff like that, more than anything else. Let's see what goes on with the general energy for you. Look at that, you get the Six of Wands, Five of Wands, Six of Wands. This is incredibly progressive. You're the only one that can progress this, Sagittarius. Your success will be determined about how you engage in it. And once you do engage in a very simple and pragmatic way that I was talking about in how to manifest things at the moment, you are going to be the master of your own success. Look at that. And you're building, this is on your financial plans. You've got the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands combined with the Two of Wands with someone else creates that Four of Wands that you're pulling out of, which is usually the Four of Wands is a marriage card. And here you have the Two of Wands, and this is very fiery. It's in the here and now. It's in your life, and you're going off on a journey, and you're starting to realize that, communication with others can be very short and precise because you have a path to follow here. And we saw that last week, and I think you've got a plan of action, and energy is investing in your plan of action. Very, very good for you, Sagittarius. Absolutely fantastic week. Real sort of, it's good to see you back. It's good to see you back after a couple of 2 or 3 years where it's been a little bit difficult for you. But yeah, it's good to see you back. So there you go. Don't forget about the messages from energy and also the other energy videos that we do on this channel. I thank you very much for having the confidence and the trust in the channel to subscribe, like, and share. It's also lovely to see your comments. Don't forget about if you do want an answer, the question answers next week, please do leave that question in the comments. Make sure it's precise as well. Be absolutely lovely. So I will see you soon. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.